Welcome back. Last time we learned 2 strategies for dealing with repetitive word use. Replace the repetition with a pronoun. Use a synonym instead. Unfortunately, these 2 simple fixes can have some negative side effects. Repeating a pronoun can be just as monotonous as repeating a noun. And if you're not careful, replacing every word repetition with a synonym can start to sound like an obnoxious game of thesaurus tag. Food and water, nourishment and fluid, sustenance and H2O, digestible cuisine and aqueous refreshment. Ha! So, we can't always rely on these cheap tricks. The next strategy is better, but it's also a little more complex. Restructure or combine sentences to remove the repetition altogether. Let's go back to the 2 sentences from our previous example paragraph. One essential for surviving the apocalypse is food and water. Let's face it, we need food and water every day, even if we're not trying to survive an apocalypse. Instead of using pronouns or synonyms, we could avoid repetition by simply combining these 2 sentences into one. Face it, you need food and water every day, but they are even more essential when you're trying to survive an apocalypse. We still had to use a pronoun to replace food and water, but combining these 2 sentences allowed us to get rid of the surviving the apocalypse repetition. And in the process, we crafted a much more effective topic sentence for this paragraph. Let's try one more. An extreme lack of food or water could lead to extremely painful and potentially deadly effects. And these effects could be particularly deadly when you are trying to survive an apocalypse. Here, we repeat extreme, effects, and deadly in the same sentence. I'm not going to worry about the repetition of the word extreme because that repetition actually adds a bit of stylistic flair and I kind of like it. But if we restructure the second half of the sentence, we can remove those other repetitions. An extreme lack of food or water could lead to extremely painful and potentially deadly effects, particularly during an apocalypse when medical supplies are scarce. By restructuring the sentence, we got rid of the monotonous word repetition and inserted a logical explanation for why these effects could be particularly deadly during an apocalypse. Win! Victorious fist pump! Okay, let's review. Now we've discussed 3 different strategies for dealing with word repetition. Replace the repetition with a pronoun. Use a synonym instead. Remember to use this one sparingly as it has a tendency to sound like an obnoxious thesaurus drill rather than effective writing. Or restructure or combine sentences to remove the repetition altogether. Now it's your turn. Let's go to work. I mean, I don't want to brag, but that's pretty cool.